What's up, YouTube? I'm just a common man working hard to bring you the recap of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And dear God, was this pay-per-view a beauty. Mwah. The pre-show starts off with a bit of heartbreaking news. Sorry to say this to any old-time wrestling fans out there, but it seems wrestling legend Dusty Rhodes has passed away on Thursday night. So, yeah, that's the thing. On Monday Night Raw, they're going to be dedicating this show to Dusty Rhodes, so... Well, not the show, sorry. The pay-per-view was dedicated to Dusty Rhodes. They're going to be showing a special on the WWE Network after Raw about Dusty Rhodes. So, any of you guys who have respect for the legend should probably check that out. I won't be recapping it, but you should check it out anyway. Anyway, although I'm not much for the whole mourning over celebrities thing, since this is a wrestling video, and I know the wrestling community respects him a lot, I'm going to, for once in my life, actually mourn over a lost celebrity, and I'm going to give Dusty a good 10 seconds of silence. So, silence away. Alright then, now that paying respects to a legend is out of the way, it's time to actually go on with the pay-per-view results. The pre-show's match was R-Truth versus King Barret. Now, this match starts off with R-Truth coming out and giving a little promo. R-Truth talks about how on Thursday he played dress-up, dressing in the King's robes, and he said he finally understands the saying, it's great to be king. Yeah, that's the saying he said, which I didn't know was a saying, but whatever. So then Truth says it's time for the age of King What's Up? Because, you know, apparently his name's What's Up now. Anyway, the match starts, and honestly, I barely remember this match. All I remember is the ending, in which King Barret sets up for his bullhammer elbow and swings at R-Truth, only for R-Truth to duck under and miss it. R-Truth bounces from one rope, goes to the other, ducks under Barret again. Barret goes for another bullhammer, but this time after R-Truth ducks... Luckily not... he didn't go for another... The second bullhammer was on the second rebound, which R-Truth ducked again. And then R-Truth, it looked like R-Truth was going for, well, I thought it was called Little Jimmy, but apparently it's called the lie detector now. It looked like he was going for the lie detector. Then it looked like Wade Barrett was going for the winds of change at the same time. And this clusterfuck turned into R-Truth hitting Barrett with a crucifix and pinning the King. 1, 2, 3. After this, R-Truth celebrated as if he was a champion, because let's face it, it's rare that R-Truth actually wins matches. And he puts on King Barrett's crown and celebrates and juts around in it. To which Wade Barrett doesn't appreciate it, and he confronts R-Truth. R-Truth then acts scared, backs off slowly. No, but it's alright. Here, have your crown back. Tosses the crown to Barrett and then runs off. Another high point of this match that I remember, although I don't remember most of the match, was at one point, I believe R-Truth had the advantage at this point. And he took a... Actually, no, this wasn't during the match. This was after he took the crown. He was talking to the announcers, and he said, I'm going to give you all a job. Okay, Cole, you are the court jester. JBL, you will operate the drawbridge. And King, I'm a king, you're a king, you can be my stunt double. I felt like talking about that because I found that kind of funny. So anyway, yeah, R-Truth versus Barrett. R-Truth wins. So then the actual pay-per-view starts, and they start off by having a moment of silence for Dusty Rhodes, like I did earlier. Only theirs was 10 bells rather than 10 seconds. After which they showed a little montage of Dusty's career. Or was that later in the night? Actually, I think they did that twice. But yeah, anyway. After this, they switched to commercials so that all the wrestlers who were gathered out to respect Dusty could go into the back and prepare. And then the first match of the night starts. That match being the Money in the Bank ladder match, which, unsurprisingly, is far too long of a match of too many spots for me to remember them and put them all in order. So instead, I'll just talk about the spots in a random order as I normally do. So, notable spots in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Roman Reigns powerbombs Kofi Kingston through a ladder. Well, onto a ladder, not actually through it. He then powerbombs Adrian Neville on Kofi Kingston on the ladder. Let's see, what were some other ladder spots? I know there were more. They just weren't all that good. I recall there was a ladder spot with Roman Reigns and Sheamus. I just can't remember what happened in it. Oh, I remember now. It wasn't Roman Reigns and Sheamus. It was Dolph and Sheamus. At one point, both Dolph and Sheamus were climbing up the ladder, in which, well, as they were brawling it out, Sheamus lifted up Dolph and looked like he was going to do a white noise off of the ladder, in which case Dolph managed to crawl off his shoulders, and I basically called what was going to happen at that point, but you guys don't care about that. Dolph then locks in the sleeper hold, and it looks like Sheamus is going to fall off because, well, he's in a sleeper hold. But before Sheamus does fall off, Dolph turns the sleeper hold into a super zigzag off the ladder. And then Adrian Neville pops up out of nowhere and hits the red arrow on Sheamus. And apparently Adrian Neville lost all his endurance because he acted as if the red arrow was the most painful thing on earth, despite the fact that he does it all the time and never shows pain afterwards. Another moment, well, it isn't really an extreme moment, but I liked it anyway because it finally showed respect for one of my favorite wrestlers. Kane comes in at this point, and Adrian Neville and Dolph Ziggler decide to team up on him because he's fucking Kane. After they kick and basically knock Kane away briefly, they both pick up a ladder and charge Kane with it, only for Kane to just boot them both away like flies. And then Kane's disrespected again as Roman Reigns comes in and Superman punches him, and he somehow disappears for the rest of the match. Because apparently Superman punches are so destructive they knock you out for a good 10 minutes. Let's see, were there any other important ladder spots in that match? I don't believe there were, so onward to the end of the match. Everyone is cleared out. Actually, no, there was another important spot, although it was not a ladder spot. After Roman Reigns Superman punches Kane, Roman Reigns is the only one left in the... Luckily, he was the only one left in the ring, but there was no ladder. So Roman Reigns then decides that he gotta leave the ring anyway. Let's jump out at everyone and knock their asses out. So after Roman Reigns jumps outside and takes out everyone out there, Roman Reigns gets up, grabs a steel chair, puts it in the ring, and starts his climb to victory. My apologies. Again, my memory's shit. There was a point between these two that actually matters. My apologies. Roman Reigns does jump out at everybody, but at this point, luckily, I didn't even screw up. I just screwed up by saying I screwed up. I am the biggest failure in all of YouTube. Fuck it, I'm not editing this. You guys can laugh at my idiocy. Anyway, Roman Reigns jumps out at everyone, knocks them all on their asses. At this point, everyone is done for. Everyone's unconscious outside. So in comes the New Day to the rescue. They come in, they grab Kofi, they toss him in the ring, and they toss a ladder in after him. At this point, I was hoping Kofi would actually win. I knew he wasn't, but I was hoping he would, because I actually wouldn't mind seeing Kofi's Mr. Money in the Bank and Xavier Woods and Big E as champions, but whatever. Anyway, they toss Kofi and the ladder into the ring, and they start standing guard, constantly glancing back at Kofi and glancing back at the fainted bodies to make sure that no one can interfere. Now, logically speaking, this plan should have worked, but fuck logic. So, as they're cheering on Kofi, and cheering him on longer than usual, the obvious happens, and Roman Reigns comes in and does his, I believe it's called the basement drop kick, to both to both Xavier and Big E at the same time. And this somehow knocks them out for a good 10 minutes. Anyway, he then goes in and deals with Kofi. And then as he's climbing his way to victory, who randomly appears but Bray Wyatt? Bray Wyatt pushes the ladder over, knocking Reigns off of it, then hits Reigns with Sister Abigail, taking Reigns out of the equation. Sheamus then finds his way into the ring and starts to climb the ladder. It looks like Sheamus is going to win since there's no one up to stop him, until Adrian Neville slips into the ring and climbs the ladder after him. They start brawling on top of the ladder, punching back and forth, back and forth. But in the end, it looks like Adrian Neville is going to win it out, which is stupid because Adrian Neville's smaller and weaker. But whatever, the face always wins the strikeouts. So as Sheamus is about to fall, Sheamus grabs onto Adrian Neville's hair and starts. Well, originally it looks like he was spotting him in the eye, but apparently he was grabbing his hair. And him grabbing his hair put Neville in so much pain that Sheamus managed to be able to pull Neville off the ladder and have him fall and bump on his head. This gave Sheamus the ample time needed to claim his briefcase and become Mr. Money in the Bank, fella. So, Sheamus is your new Mr. Money in the Bank. Kind of shocking to me. I actually expected it to be either Dolph Ziggler again or Roman Reigns. I didn't think that it would be. I mean, I thought it was going to be Neville or Reigns. Why did I say Dolph Ziggler? I thought it was going to be Neville or Reigns, but nope, it was Sheamus. That's actually kind of shocking. I'm interested to see how that will work out. Anyway, the next match of the night was Paige versus Nikki Bella. And this match I remember better. Yeah, this match I remember better. It starts off evenly matched with the girls switching blows and holds, etc., etc., until Paige takes advantage with a super kick, I believe it was. With Paige in the advantage, Paige starts beating down on Nikki. And let's see, there was some big move that Paige hit Nikki with. I'm just trying to remember what it was. I believe Paige slammed Nikki into the barricade, at which point Paige starts to climb up onto the barricade because she likes climbing on barricades, which Nikki uses to turn around as Nikki picked Paige up electric chair drop style and drops Paige across the barricade. Nikki then controls the match for a while as she beats down on Paige. The match turning around once Nikki goes for her rack attack, which Paige counters with multiple elbows to her head. At this point, Paige is in control of the match and does her thing, beating down on Nikki. And then she goes for what looked like she was going for a PTO, but instead she just did a regular. She did some alternate version of the PTO, not the actual PTO. And we had a champion struggles to hold on moment before Nikki Bella grabbed onto the bottom rope. At which point the match continued, and again Paige was still dominating for the most part. And then Paige locks in the actual starts to lock in the actual PTO. But Nikki manages to crawl to the ropes and get it broken rather than being put in it. Paige continues to brutalize Nikki, and Nikki crawls out to the apron for reprieve. As Paige goes after Nikki kicks Paige in the head, causing Paige to roll out the ring, and Nikki falls out of the ring out of exhaustion. At this point, Nikki and Brie do their twin magic thing, and Nikki crawls under the ring with Brie replacing her. Paige crawls into the ring, goes out to drag what she thought was Nikki in, and as she's going for the PTO, Brie rolls Paige up for the pin. For the pin. 1, 2, Paige counters and rolls Brie up. 1, 2, 3, Paige wins. Or so the referee thought. This part I actually found kind of funny, because Brie then goes, No, she didn't win, it's me, Brie, see, and she starts pulling fucking paper towels out of her fucking bra. I find this hilarious because WWE never makes note of the fact that the Bella twins have different bust sizes due to Nikki having breast implants. So I don't know, I just found it funny seeing Brie pulling the fucking tissues out of her bra. That's not exactly a PG joke, letting kids know about bra stuffing to feel better about yourselves, now is it? Anyway, that doesn't matter. Anyway, so the referee calls off the pin because it wasn't Nikki who was pinned, it was Brie. A pissed off Paige then super kicks Brie and yells at Brie as Nikki comes in. Nikki raises up her bullhammer elbow. WMD. Her random elbow that somehow is able to knock people out. And as Paige turns around, elbow to face. Nikki lifts Paige up, hits her with the rack attack. 1, 2, 3. Nikki Bella retains her Divas Championship. The next match of the night was... I don't want to talk about this match. The next match of the night was John Cena versus Kevin Owens. You'd think because of me saying that I didn't enjoy this match. Hell no, I loved this match. John Cena versus Kevin Owens was an amazing, fucking amazing match. With all the spots being regular moves, so Kevin Owens steals the 5-knuckle shuffle. Kevin Owens AA's John Cena. Kevin Owens does his cannonball thing to Cena. Kevin Owens needs to learn that flying is not his forte, because both times where he goes up on the top rope, Cena manages to counter them. Of course, Cena also needs to learn his lesson, because Cena goes for a diving leg drop that's countered. At one point, Cena countered Kevin Owens' pop-up powerbomb to a Hurricane Rana. Kevin Owens kicked out of 2 attitude adjustments. John Cena kicked out of 1 pop-up powerbomb, 1 package powerbomb, 1 spin-out powerbomb. What else did Cena and Kevin kick out of? Kevin Owens kicked out of something else that Cena did. I forgot what it was, though. Electric chair drop. Kevin Owens kicked out of John Cena's electric chair drop. Kevin Owens got out of the STFU. And yes, I know I should be saying these in order, but it was so long I really can't remember the order of these things. Point is, It was strong move, kick out galore, with one highlight of the match actually being Cena, for once in his life, arguing with the referee. Something you don't often see a face do, so that was interesting. But in the end, Kevin Owens went for... Let's see, what did Kevin Owens go for? I believe he went for the pop-up powerbomb. But Cena jumped over his head instead. So Kevin Owens turns around, only for Cena to hop off the ropes and hit him with the springboard stunner. A stunned Kevin Owens then gets lifted up and gets AA'd, and 1-2-3, John Cena wins the rubber match. Well, not the rubber match, the second match. The rubber match will be the next one they have. Now, why is it that I don't want to talk about this match? Because I can hear it now. The internet wrestling community. Cena keeps burying young talent. I told you Cena was gonna win. Boo, Cena sucks. Kevin Owens is buried. Even though Kevin Owens beat Cena at the last pay-per-view clean. God, I hate the internet wrestling community so very much. But that's enough of that. The point was, it was a damn good match. After which, Cena said something about the fans. I didn't actually hear what he said because he didn't have a mic. And then he said, apparently, you belong. And he went to shake Owens' hand. Owens shook his hand. Then Cena rose his hand in victory. And Owens like, yeah, no, I'm getting tired of shit. And he fucking Sparta kicks Cena clear out of the ring. And then he follows out after Cena and does the apron powerbomb to him. After which, he goes in, grabs his NXT title and Cena's United States title, walks out to the ramp, holds up the United States Championship, tosses it to the ground, then holds up the NXT Championship and says, "The real champ is here," before leaving a beaten and battered John Cena to be escorted out by medics. So, yeah. The next match of the night was Ryback versus The Big Show for the Intercontinental Championship. The match starts off with The Miz coming out, actually. The Miz will then give a speech about how he's sorry to his fans for them not getting the match they deserve, but his lawyers are working on it. Until then, he will be a director, and he will give them a video and audio show like no other. He then sits down at the commentary desk as the match between the Ryback and The Big Show starts. The match starts off with Ryback hitting a clothesline and doing his finish it taunt. Ryback then goes to hit The Big Show with the shell shocked, but Big Show punches Ryback away. Ryback will then not take that shit and clotheslines Big Show's ass outside of the ring. Ryback then leaves the ring, and apparently his bullying gimmick isn't done, because he goes over to The Miz, who did absolutely nothing, lifts The Miz up by his neck, says, "Your stupid mouth is annoying," or no, "Your stupid face is annoying," and then he flings The Miz. I don't remember where the hell he flung him, but he just flings The Miz. At which point, since Ryback was unable to be distracted, the Big Show takes advantage and starts beating the holy fuck out of Ryback. Big Show tosses Ryback into the ring, hits him with a choke slam, 1-2 kick out. Big Show continues to beat the Ryback. They both end up tumbling out of the ring, and Big Show hits the... and then... no. Yeah, Big Show knocks Ryback out of the ring, and Miz goes to attack Ryback, only to be stopped by the Big Show. The Big Show then knockout punches Ryback, tosses Ryback into the ring, and starts to go in himself, only to be attacked by the Miz with a microphone. After the Miz beats Big Show to near unconsciousness, he does the same to a grounded Ryback before leaving the arena. So, thanks to Miz, the Big Show wins, but by disqualification. Now, the next match of the night was Xavier Woods and Big E Langston versus the Primetime Players. I would like to point out this is the first time that the New Day actually competed with Freebird rules. Because until today, Kofi Kingston and Big E were the only ones defending the title. And for good reason. Xavier Woods was clearly the weak point of the New Day. And that's why I love tonight, because tonight they put basically, how do I put this? Minus the stupid things that knock people out during the Money in the Bank ladder match, this is one of the most realistic nights of wrestling due to subtle detail. Is the word subtle? I think it's the word subtle. Subtle details they put in throughout the night. And this match has one of those details, which I'll get to later. But yeah, Big E and Xavier Woods come out, and they start telling us about how cheaters never win, because apparently the sports team of that town were cheaters and got off probation recently. Anyway, then they go on to talk about how Kofi Kingston was robbed of the Money in the Bank briefcase again this year, and that he needs the power of positivity, and asks them to clap for Kofi Kingston. Of course, they do clap, clap, New Day sucks, New Day sucks. And Xavier freaking snaps and just starts yelling at them like crazy. He's about to say they suck, but then Big E just stops him before he can finish saying they suck. And then Big E's just like... And then Xavier starts clapping with him. And Xavier gets a fake smile face. It's like, dear God. I like that angle that they will just fucking snap if they didn't have that positivity crap going for them. It was hilarious seeing Xavier like that. And then the primetime players come out. Xavier Woods and Darren Young start off the match, and as you'd expect, Darren is dominating because one, he's the face, and two, Xavier Woods is the weak point of the New Day. And Xavier Woods gets his ass kicked. But as Darren Young is tossing Woods off the rope, Big E manages to tag Woods on the back. As Woods stops himself on the rope and Darren doesn't realize what's happening, Darren turns around only to get hit by Big E's belly-to-belly suplex. At this point, you know what's going to happen. New Day takes control and beats and beats and beats down on poor Darren Young, constantly getting close call after close call and attempts on pinning him, and constantly keeping Darren away from Titus. That is until I can't remember what Darren hit him with, but Darren hits Big E with a move that gets them both on the ground, and they both tag their respective partners. Titus comes in, knocks down Xavier Woods, clotheslines a cornered Big E, catches Xavier Woods tries to crossbody him, knees it, backbreaker Xavier Woods, and then tosses Xavier Woods aside. Runs at Xavier Woods, clotheslines him, hits him with something. I can't remember what move he hit him with next. But all I know is that he went for a pin afterwards, which Big E came in to break up. Darren Young comes in and starts punching on Big E, and then he goes to toss Big E out of the ring, which Big E reversals and tosses Darren out of the ring instead. As Darren's getting back up on the ropes, Big E runs into his own rope and then does his little spear through the ropes on Darren Young, knocking Darren clean off the ropes and knocking himself out with him. So at this point, it's now up to Xavier Woods to take on Titus O'Neil. Xavier Woods runs at Titus, who goes for a big boot, with Xavier ducks under before running back at Titus, only to get hit with a spine buster. I'm not going to call it the Clash of the Titus because it wasn't the Clash of the Titus, but a spine buster, a sit-out spine buster to be exact, which Titus then gets the win off of, surprisingly, because it wasn't Clash of the Titus, but whatever. The primetime players are your new tag team champions, And this is the subtle detail I'm talking about. Big E and Kofi were the two stronger members of the New Day. This much has always been obvious. So it makes sense that when Xavier Woods actually defends the title, he loses it. I could just be reading too much into this, but I like that subtle detail, because they're like, yeah, Xavier Woods is a mouthpiece. He's not as good as Kofi. Anyway, so, yeah. With that, it is time for the main event. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. Again, way too many spots for me to get them in perfect order. But at least in this time, I can get them closer to a perfect order. But definitely not perfect order. So the match starts off, and luckily, let's start before the match. Because before the match, we see Seth Rollins walking out to the ring. He passes J&J, who turn away from him. Then he walks into Kane, who then tells Seth, I've been waiting for this moment for years. You dug your grave, now you have to sleep in it. And then Stephanie tells Seth, well, if you lose, we know who to blame. Then Triple H tells him, forget about them, forget about everything they said. Clear your mind. This is what you wanted. You wanted this opportunity, now you go out there and you show them. This fires Seth up, and he leaves. Alright, so now the match actually starts, and it starts with, surprise, surprise, Dean Ambrose beating the holy fuck out of Seth Rollins. After Dean beats back Seth around like the bitch he is for a bit, Seth Rollins kicks Dean in the face and manages to get some breathing room as he goes out as he takes over. I don't remember what set of moves he hit him with next, but the point is he laid Dean out. With Dean now laid out, Seth Rollins goes outside of the ring to go get the ladder. Dean follows behind him, smacks him around a bit more, and slams Seth's head into the ladder. Dean then goes with the ladder, places it on the ring apron, only for Seth to come from behind and clothesline him into the ladder. At this point, Seth starts chopping Dean on the ladder, and then Seth starts climbing into the ring. He knocks the ladder over on Dean, kind of. It doesn't actually fall on Dean. Dean's holding it up. And then Seth gets the bright idea to try to suicide dive Dean and the ladder. Naturally, this does not work out well, as Dean shoves the ladder into Seth's face. And then Dean goes in the ring and starts to climb the ladder. Now, I'm not sure if I'm skipping ahead or not, but I believe at this, luckily, no, I'm definitely skipping ahead. At this point, Dean starts climbing only for Seth to come in and pull him off. And then they start playing the whole climb, pull game, which is fucking annoying. But in the end, Dean wins out. I don't remember how, but he wins out. So at this point, Dean starts to climb the ladder, only for Seth Rollins to come in with a steel chair and bash the back of Dean's leg in, knocking Dean down, and setting up Dean having an injured leg for the rest of the match. Although I don't think WWE knows how injured legs work, because it's supposedly a bad knee, but a good chunk of the moves Seth hits are on the ankle, and the chair shots were to the back of the thigh. So yeah, I guess he has an injured knee, an injured thigh, and an injured ankle all at once. Anyway, Seth Rollins then smashes the ladder onto Dean's foot and basically concertos Dean's leg against the ladder. Seth then goes to climb up the ladder, only for Dean to grab his leg, stopping him from doing so. At this point, Seth basically has a ball beating down on Dean multiple times, and this is the part where I'm going to have trouble ordering things correctly. So I'm just going to go ahead and say the spots as they come to my mind, because I cannot order these next few spots right. It's going to be impossible for me to remember. So spot number 1 off the top of my head. This is during the time that Dean is injured. Well, obviously it's all during the time Dean's injured. Seth starts to run through the crowd, completely forgetting he needs to be in the ring to win. And Dean, not being the brightest bulb in the tube shed, rather than climbing the ladder and taking the title, goes after Seth Rollins. Dean then proceeds to punch Seth Rollins through the crowd until Seth Rollins counters and tosses Dean onto a table. Seth Rollins then goes back to the ring, realizing, hey, Dean's injured. There's no way in hell Dean's going to be able to get back to the ring. Surprise, surprise, Dean gets back to the ring, and before Seth can even get the ladder out, well, he did get the ladder out, before he get it completely out from under the ring, Dean runs through the Spanish announce table and diving clothesline Seth Rollins. At this point, they both go back into the ring, and Seth Rollins tries to powerbomb Dean onto the ladder, which is now between the ring and the announce table. It's hanging off the ring and announce table, basically. And Seth tries to powerbomb Dean out onto it, but Dean counters. Seth then goes to clothesline Dean, but Dean basically back body drops him over the rope onto the ladder. This snaps the ladder in half, and fucking hell, that probably hurt like hell for Seth Rollins. Another spot that I think the spot was earlier was Dean climbing the ladder when it was up in the corner rather than in the middle of the ring. And as Bradshaw said, what's he gonna do, jump for the title? Dean basically does what we all expect and diving elbow drops Seth Rollins. A minor spot, but a spot nonetheless. Essentially, most of this part is just Seth Rollins beating down Dean, usually with Dean outside the ring, and then trying to climb, only for Dean to grab his leg. After a while, Seth gets fucking tired of this shit, and tosses Dean on the Spanish announce table, getting ready to pedigree Dean. Dean counters the pedigree though, gets basically... let's see, how do I... Seth had him ready for the pedigree. Dean does a little duck out and grabs his arm and then pulls him into the dirty deed. I am explaining this badly. Basically, Dean dirty deeds him on the Spanish announce table. And then Dean goes on to try to get the championship belt. Only for Seth Rollins to come in and pull him down and beat the fuck out of him again. At this point, Seth pedigrees Dean in the middle of the ring, and Seth's sure he's going to win now. Seth starts to climb up, only for Dean to get up again and grab Seth's leg. At this point, Seth has had a fucking enough, and he knocks Dean out of the ring. Seth then goes batshit insane. He gets the ladder, he gets a bunch of... Actually, no, first, he picks up Dean, running powerbomb him into the barricade. Picks him up again, running powerbomb into the other barricade. Then, he takes the ladder. He piles chairs on top of it. He hoists Dean up and powerbombs him into that. And then he pulls Dean off of it and starts piling the chairs on him. Then he piles the ladder on top of that. Then he piles more chairs on top of him. And then a frustrated Seth Rollins goes into the ring, finally sure that Dean Ambrose is done for, only for Dean to raise from the fucking grave, push the pile of chairs and ladder off of him, and crawl back into the ring, only to bug Seth Rollins again. But this time, he doesn't bug Seth Rollins by grabbing Seth Rollins' leg. This time, he actually climbs up under Seth Rollins and ends up literally like between Seth Rollins and the ladder. At this point, Seth Rollins is taking down the belt, and Dean reaches up with him. They're both grabbing the belt at this point, Seth unhooks the belt and they both fall. As they both fall, Dean loses his grip on the belt and Seth Rollins has it in his arms. It's decided that since Seth had the belt after they fell, that Seth Rollins was the winner of the match. At which point the announcer starts saying that's unfair, Dean had the belt too. In which case I say you guys should not have shown the replay at the angle you did. Because the angle they showed a replay at clearly shows Seth Rollins being the one to actually unhook the belt. But whatever, it doesn't matter because although they made it seem like a controversy, Seth still technically wins the match and leads the WWE Championship. Before I actually give my point in the pay-per-view, I actually want to point out one more thing about this match. Well, two more things, because like I said, I really like some of the smaller details of this pay-per-view, like R-Truth giving all the commentators jobs, or like, I don't remember what the other example was, but like, alright, them making it clear that Xavier was the weakest member of the New Day. But this match had three other small details I liked. One simply because I didn't know what the fuck it was. At one point during the match when Seth and Dean were beating the fuck out of each other and Seth had locked Dean into a figure 4 leg lock on the turnbuckle. That's another main point of the match, by the way. I forgot to talk about it, but you know about it now. I heard somebody saying CCW. I don't know if he meant ECW, but I heard a fan chanting CCW. Almost like, what? He could have been chanting ECW, because neither of them are from ECW, so what the fuck CCW? If somebody knows, tell me in the description. If he wasn't saying ECW, did I say description? I meant comments. I'm just failing so much today. Point is, the fan chanting CCW or ECW was funny because no one's from ECW and CCW wasn't a thing. Anyway, other small details about this match I liked. 1. When Dean Ambrose clotheslined Seth Rollins over a Spanish announce table. The Spanish announce team didn't just leave. One of them actually grabbed his headset before hopping into the crowd and continuing commentating from the crowd with the headset on. I know it seems like a dumb thing to notice, but I noticed it and I fucking loved that detail because it actually showed him giving a fuck about his job rather than disappearing from the table and not doing shit afterwards. So that was a nice detail. And another detail I liked, and this is my favorite detail about the match, you always hear people saying, these two have known each other for years, these two have studied each other, these two know all of each other's moves, but you never really notice anything to back that up. Until this match. As you guys should know, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are both members of The Shield. They both spent a long time together, and for once, it actually seems like one of them actually read the other because they knew them so well. Dean Ambrose goes for his rebound clothesline 3 times in the match. The first time he goes for the rebound clothesline, Seth, you can't even say he saw it coming because his back was to Dean, but he pulls up the ladder and ducks so that Dean clotheslines the ladder instead of him. You could really tell that was one of those they know each other so well moments because Seth wasn't even looking at Dean, but he knew he was going to rebound clothesline. And the second time, and this is my favorite time I've ever seen the rebound clothesline done, was when Seth Rollins punched Dean Ambrose and Dean goes to rebound clothesline, only for Seth, who has his back to Dean again, to Pele kick. Is it called the Pele or the Hele? Basically, backflip kick Dean into the fucking skull when he goes for a rebound clothesline. And this leads to my favorite rebound clothesline, because I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the rebound clothesline, which is clearly supposed to be a counter, doesn't seem like a counter anymore. Because Dean will do a rebound clothesline off the most mediocre shit, like a kick to the gut or a weak-ass looking punch. It doesn't even look like a counter half the time. But this time, it didn't look like Dean just fell back because he felt like it. This time, it actually looked like a goddamn counter as Dean goes back and hits the rebound clothesline after the Hele. I know this probably seems like a small thing to notice, but it's actually nice when a move actually looks like it belongs for once. I despise Dean Ambrose's rebound clothesline because I think they misused the fuck out of it. But this pay-per-view is without a doubt the best showing of that signature move because of those small details. Okay, that's enough rambling on about small details. You guys now know what happened in each match, so my thoughts on the pay-per-view overall? I fucking loved it. I want to say it was a 10 out of 10, but upon looking back at my other reviews, I realized I always give those pay-per-views a higher score than they actually deserve. So although I loved all the matches of the night, I'm actually going to give it a... Let's see. Is there anything I need to count off for? Barret vs. R-Truth was average at best. And there were stupid moments during the ladder match, but overall all the matches were still enjoyable. 8.5 or 9? 9. I'll go with that. I'll give this pay-per-view a 9 out of 10. Because although there were some more foolish moments in the pay-per-view, it was still overall an amazingly enjoyable experience for me. So yeah, Monday Night Bad pay-per-view gets a 9 out of 10. It was an amazing show. If you didn't watch it, go watch it now. If you don't have the WWE Network, I don't know, bootleg it or something. You guys know where to find the sites. I don't, that's why I got the WWE Network. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Deuces, YouTube.